I am a Mocha mom, and I am back to answer a question from Tasha. She is a mom of an 18-month-old daughter who is interested in homeschool. She wants to start right around the time her daughter is 3 years old. She stays home all week with her daughter, but works 28-hour-long weekends and sometimes struggles Mondays, especially feeling really tired. And she's looking down the line and wondering, is homeschool something she can really do? She's done some research and is overwhelmed by all the information that's out there. She wonders, if she can do it because she's already noticing that her child doesn't maybe know as much as some other kids that she knows who are in daycare. She doesn't have a whole lot of money to buy educational toys and is wondering what really she can teach her child herself at home. She also wants to have a close relationship with her daughter and is wondering whether or not being home 24 hours with her daughter might be too much time. Would that have a negative impact or a positive impact on her relationship with her daughter? And finally, she's wondering, how do I manage my responsibilities with homeschool and the household chores that need to get done, and in her case, working. Lastly, she says, how do you have personal time? How do you fit personal time if you're with your child 24 hours a day? And I want to encourage you that if you want to homeschool, you can do it. It's like anything new that you're trying to learn, and when you're exposed to a lot of information, it can become overwhelming. So I would recommend that you just take it in bite-sized pieces. Why not start with just looking at homeschooling your preschooler and see what's out there? There are curriculums that are based on how you teach or how your child learns. So you can look for curriculums that teach information by doing hands-on activities, making crafts, cutting things out, doing field trips, getting yourself immersed in the information that you're learning. But my first line of defense when my kids are really that young, and I say it all the time, is I read to my kids. Get yourself a library card, go to the children's section and look at their picture books. Picture books are not just limited to fiction. You can find picture books on almost any subject you can think of. My personal favorite right now is I am really enjoying the biography section. If I'm going to read my kid a story, a made-up story about somebody, why not read them a story about someone that really existed and they could learn something really interesting? For example, we just read a story about the man who first studied snowflakes, and my kids loved listening to that story. So make use of your free resources. There's story time at almost every library. Have someone else read them a story. And some of the story times are very good where there's a craft that they do. They sing songs. A lot of times the person has visual aids that she puts up a felt board, and it's like a mini lesson, and it's free, and you are there with your child, and it can kind of give a new homeschooler ideas of how to talk and present new information to small children. And you'll meet other moms and form support systems. Find out what the laws and the rules are in your state for homeschooling, and find out what your state support system is. Homeschool moms organize to give each other ideas about, what to do, and also to form larger groups for activities that are better done with more than just your kids. So you're not homeschooling all by yourself. So get yourself plugged in and connected. Does being together all the time ruin our relationship? I think it makes it better. Obviously, when people are together in close proximity, there's a tendency to get on each other's nerves, but you also have a tremendous opportunity. If you're with your kid all the time, you can, get to know them and address the issues that come up right then and there. As for personal time, I create personal time by making sure I have my family on a routine or schedule. How rigid your routine or schedule is has to do with what your personality and preference is for scheduling. For me, it's kind of rigid, but it has a little bit of flex to it. But in general, every day in my house between the hours of 1 and 3 p.m. is our quiet time. Quiet time means different things for different people depending on where you are developmentally. The little ones who still nap sleep during that time. The older ones read their books, do a quiet craft, go and find yourself a quiet place to go and do something. I don't mind if you do it with a sibling if you can be quiet. During that time, I go get my lunch, go to my room, go to the basement, watch a movie, read a book, take a nap, take a bath, whatever I want to do. They know that unless there is some sort of emergency going down, do not knock on my door. And the reason why I do that is because I have the type of personality, while I'm very outgoing, I need to be by myself to recharge my batteries. And so right in the middle of the day, after I've been pouring into them for homeschool, right around 1 o'clock is when I need to recharge my batteries. If I don't take that time between 1 and 3 and I go into what I call the witching hour, which is, 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, where you're trying to get lunch together and everybody is cranky and crabby. If I try to go into that time without recharging my batteries in the midday, I do much worse. I yell, I fall apart, I'm irrational, and I'm ineffective in getting my stuff done. And then my husband comes home and he's ready for, hey baby and all of that, and I don't have anything to give him. And so I religiously guard my quiet time. Now, I've had to put some pretty rigid systems in place to guard that, because people like to call you at that time. That's the time when your friends who are homeschooling, maybe they're wrapping their stuff up and they have a few moments to speak and they want to talk to you. And I love to talk on the phone. So if I get on the phone with somebody, I find myself on the phone with them for a really long time. And usually that conversation is a give and take, but sometimes it could just be a give. So when I get off the phone with them and I go into my witching hour, I'm not prepared, because I was pouring out for homeschool and I'm pouring out during the conversation on the phone, and I'm just not recharged enough to finish out the rest of my day. So I tell my friends that I have a quiet time between 1 and 3. Can you please call me after 3 o'clock? Because how good am I to someone else if I'm falling apart myself? So it hasn't always made me very popular, but I've learned over the years that it's just not worth it. The routine and schedule also work well for my housekeeping chores. So I encourage you to get out there, find some other moms, find some moms your age who are struggling with the same things that you are struggling with, but also look for some moms who've already been where you are and hear what they did to get them through. No sense in reinventing the wheel and struggling your own self. We need to help each other and pour into each other. And I wouldn't sit around waiting for someone to come to me. Go out there and find somebody who could pour some wisdom into you.